letter is being written to the most senior Biafran in Buhari's government. Dear Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ç1Đ Onyema, we choose to write you instead of President Muhammadu Buhari because it is apparent from the President's two most recent media outings that his cognitive impairment has greatly deteriorated, even though it is no justification for his murderous and genocidal rhetoric from his utterances. The gap between things his innermost mind conjures and what his mouth utters has been completely erased. We also chose to write you because you are the most senior Biafran in Buhari's government. We know that in your word, Biafra is the worst tag that anyone could put on you. Unfortunately, the people you work with in and around Aso Rock see you as a Biafran. You can keep running away from it, but in the deepest corners of their eyes, Biafra is like a shell on you, and like a snail, you cannot cast it off. Over the last 6 years, we are aware of your hard work on the international stage to rescue this government's reputation, as this government squandered both at home and abroad the enormous goodwill it received in 2015. You have worked hard to reassure the international community that the wheel of the Nigeria vessel had not come off and would not come off. Based on recent events, you do not need a soothsayer or us to tell you that the wheels came off a long time ago. What the international community was telling you in private weeks ago, they have made a tiny bit of it public following the debacle that is Buhari's reaction to Twitter's sanction of its genocidal tweets against the people of the Southeast. Clearly, the government that you champion abroad is set to reenact at home another genocide against the people of Southeast Nigeria, which had its opening act during the unfortunate Nigeria Civil War of 1967 to 1970. We think we should have you and the international community on notice. Even your late father, the great Justice Ç1Đ Onyema, who was a judge at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, would have told you that in this unfolding moral crisis, you are not just going to be an accomplice in the killing of your people, of your own people, already in progress in several parts of Southeast Nigeria. You are going to be remembered by history as a man who played a supervisory role in the senseless carnage, as the blood of young men and women who knew nothing about the activities of a few Biafran activists seep into the red soil where your forefathers are buried. President Buhari would send you abroad to crisscross the world and lie for him. You would be lying that there were no killings of innocent young men and women in the Southeast by security agencies. Your talking point would be that the security agencies were quelling the violence perpetrated by Biafran activists. You probably can sell it to the world, but you cannot sell it to your conscience or to the members of your forefathers who have sacrificed enough for Nigeria. At this junction, maybe we should peep through the course of the Nigeria Civil War, a repeat of the genocide, that memory of which your boss Muhammadu Buhari now threatens the Igbo population of southeastern Nigeria with a retrospective view of what war crime should point you to the frightening possibilities of poetic justice for the soul-destroying lying mission you are about to be sent abroad to whitewash. As the world reacted with anger to the massacre of able-bodied Asaba men and boys in October 1967, while their wives, mothers and sisters were forced to dance for the sadistic pleasure of trigger-happy soldiers who carried out the slaughter. General Yakubu Gowon, then head of Nigeria's military junta, sent his spin doctors abroad for a lying offensive. Among the propaganda team sent abroad was Philip Asiodu an Asaba indigene and a permanent secretary in the Gowon regime. Ç1Đ was reported to have told a press conference in Germany that reconciliation was the irrefutable goal of the Gowon administration. He was quoted as saying, inter alia, "There's no question of massacring Igbos in the captured areas." At the time of the Mora repressive propaganda mission, Ç1Đ had no idea that his younger brother, Sydney Ç1Đ, an Olympic athlete, was one of the victims of an Igbo massacre he had finished lying to an international audience did not happen. On his return to Nigeria, instead of savoring the satisfaction of a successful lying mission, he was faced with the mourning of his younger brother, killed by the agents of the same government he had gone abroad to lie for. As we write this, you are aware that the hordes of Nigeria security agents shipped to the southeast are taking their cue from President Muhammadu Buhari's often expressed odium for the people of that region. They are reading the president's body language that calls for maximum force in the language they understand. Knowing the history of Nigeria's military in Asaba during the Civil War and later in Odi, Bayelsa State in 1990, Zaki Biam in Benue State in 2001, and in Zaria, Kaduna State in 2015, where they massacred civilians in their hundreds and carried out a litany of human rights abuses. Nobody would be surprised at the news of young people being massacred after enduring torture in the hands of security agents in the southeast. No matter how you disguise it, the United Nations, Amnesty International, and other reputable world bodies have unimpeachable documentations of ugly patterns of abuses anywhere the Nigerian military went for any form of intervention. It is why successive American governments have refused to sell arms to Nigeria out of fear that the government would use it against its people. In a brazen show of indifference to what the world thinks, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Akali Baba, recently ordered his officers to ignore any demand to respect human rights in their operations, thus setting the stage for what is shaping up to be an all-out genocide in the southeast. With you and earshot away, President Buhari vows to reenact the southeast, the kind of carnage he and Nigerian soldiers carried out during the 1967 to 1970 Nigeria Biafra War. He mockingly invoked the obnoxious theory of starvation as a weapon of war that killed hundreds of thousands of women and children when he reminded the southeast people that they were a dot in the circle. As if that was not enough, he aroused the painful abandoned property saga when he reminded them that they had houses and businesses round the country and officially pronounced every Igbo man and a woman a Biafran. The president went into the darkest chambers of his heart to spew hatred, all because a group of youth fed up with the state-sanctioned dehumanizations of Southeasterners rose to demand justice. While we condemn the mindless violence that has gone on under any guise in the Southeast in the last few months, we must note that it is the lack of leadership of your principal and his blatantly bigoted response that has sustained the violence. In a view, as far as Mr. President Buhari is concerned, the Nigeria Biafra War has not ended. You can then understand why, for many young people who did not witness the war, to use President Buhari's choice words, the check of no victor, no vanquished, issued at the end of the war in January 1970, was indeed a due check. Since your principal has no sense of history, we need to remind you that Nigeria was built on and has been sustained through injustice. Well before the Civil War of 1967 to 70, there was the TV crisis of 1960 and 1964, which has lingered up until today in different forms. More than a year before the Civil started in 1967, Isaac Adakaboro, a minority rights activist, was crying for justice for his people in the Niger Delta where Nigeria's oil wealth comes from. The same people President Buhari pandered to his Arise TV interview when he reminded Biafrans, your people, that the Niger Delta youth and elders had assured him there would be no access to the sea 54 years before the NSAS movement, which President Buhari said was aimed at removing him for office on February 23rd, 1960, out of frustration with Nigeria. Adakaboro, at the age of 28, declared the Niger Delta Republic an independent state for Ç1Đ people suffering environmental degradation of their land and plunder of their oil resources. Brazenly, President Buhari, who was sworn in as president of Nigeria, finds it convenient to share these resources with his kinsmen in Niger Republic. The 12-day revolution, as Adakaboro described his exploits, happened before a series of pogroms in 1966 to 67 against the people of the old eastern region, Igbos and non-Igbos, which ultimately led to the declaration of the Republic of Biafra in May 30th, 1967. The poor leadership and discriminatory policies of Buhari administration are today fueling the clarion call for secession across Nigeria, including prominently in the southwest. Clearly, the people of the southeast were not the first group to demand a country of their own due to the failure of the Nigeria state to protect them and give them a fair shake in the country. Nor are they the only group making such a demand in present day Nigeria. But somehow it is the people of the southeast who receive Buhari's bitterness, venom each time some elements in the region, fed up with injustice, resort to self-help. Dear Honorable Minister, in 1990, while you were at the World Intellectual Property Organization, Major Gideon Oka, a Nigerian military officer, staged a coup in which he excised Buhari's home state of Katsina and other states in the north from Nigeria. It is the same part of the north that initiated Sharia law in 2000 in defiance of the constitution, and it is the aftermath of the Sharia law that led to the emergence of Boko Haram insurgency in 2002. In 2009, following the extrajudicial killing of Boko Haram founder Muhammad Yusuf, a more militant leader, Abubakar Shekau, emerged. The Shekau insurgency has lasted over 12 years, killed more than 30,000 Nigerians, Muslims, Christians, men, women, children, as well as international aid workers in dastardly acts of terror, and attracted well-financed international terrorist organizations like ISIS and Al-Qaeda into West Africa. At various times, Boko Haram took control of section of the northeast, declared a caliphate, mounted their flags as a separate nation, and were collecting taxes from Nigerians within their territory. They posted videos of gruesome execution of their victims, including Nigerian military officers. On at least 2 occasions, they had attempted to assassinate Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State. We did not witness the kind of genocidal fury and righteous indignation that propelled President Buhari's scorched earth response when it comes to the people of the southeast. Daily, across the nook and cranny of Nigeria, we witness calls for secession in different forms, including expulsion orders, without as much as a whimper from the man you serve so diligently, except of course the call comes from Biafrans. If President Buhari can talk glibly in public about what he plans for Biafrans, imagine what he says during Security Council meeting or when he is with his kitchen cabinet. Of course, we feel it. From Mr. Danladi Umar's Biafran Boys incident to the Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami comparing open grazing to selling of spare parts, a position Buhari has vowed not to contradict, to shoot on sight order given to security operatives in the southeast. Everyone that matters in the Buhari regime is reading the president's mind and body language correctly. All right-thinking men and women in the southeast condemn the killings of security agents and innocent citizens and the destruction of the country's vital infrastructure in the region. The way out would have been a measured government response to arrest the ugly development, but not when you have as president whose allegiance is more to his cousins in other countries than fellow Nigerians who do not share his ethnicity. You would agree, sir, that whatever excesses Biafran activists exhibit pale in comparison to the activities of well-armed, established northern-based groups, most of whom are from the president's ethnic stock. And this is not to compare whose terrorism is more vicious, but the carnage these extreme groups, be they headers or those who want to propitiate heaven, have visited upon Nigeria through kidnappings, wanton destructions, and surgical hits on the little threads that keep Nigeria one, has placed them among the top terrorist groups in the world, and thereby placed Nigeria on the top of every list of failed nations around the globe. Somehow, these abysmal records do not keep President Buhari up at night. From what we see, what wakes him up from his slumber in any mention of Biafra, as the sense of Nigeria's failure and unjust structure spreads. Some people in the southwest have also joined the demand for an independent nation of their own. Despite their vigorous pursuit of Oduduwa nation, they have not received the same kind of vituperation from Buhari. The president has not spoken about the activities in the southwest as representatives of all people of the region. He has not made them the scapegoat for his colossal failures, the way he takes delight in making the people of the southeast. Why is that, Mr. Oyema? Allies of the governments that you serve now demand that Igbo people daily profess their loyalty to Nigeria before they receive basic citizenship rights. Igbo people who live in northern parts of Nigeria are daily inundated by pronouncements of one Nigeria group or another, who have warned that the lives and property of Igbo people are fair game in the ongoing crisis. They have an ally in your boss, President Buhari. These groups openly signal that they have been holding their youth from unleashing a Rwanda-style genocide against the Igbo in their region. The government you serve and its accomplices have declared all Igbo men and women guilty by association. They even had the audacity to announce that they had foreclosed the possibility of any Igbo person becoming president of Nigeria until all Igbo people go on their knees and make public denunciation of the advocates for Biafra. The president you serve obediently recently amplified these absurd demands. Let us jog your memory, Mr. Oyema. At the outset of Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast, your principal, President Buhari, who was then leader of the opposition, defended the group against what he tagged their extrajudicial killing by Nigeria's security forces. The same forces he is now deploying to the southeast with orders to treat them in the language they understand. At one point, Boko Haram terrorists picked him as the man to negotiate for them with the previous government of President Goodluck Jonathan. None of this caused anyone or group to demand his disqualification from contesting for the presidency in 2015. At no point did any part of Nigeria label every northerner a Boko Haram member or demand that they not be excluded from Nigeria's leadership until they crushed the Boko Haram insurgency. Today, President Buhari and his allies are blackmailing Igbo and generalizing on their character based on the activities of Biafran activists. Mr. Oyema, think of a moment what would be of you and your career if Biafran activists announced today that you will be the man to negotiate for them with the federal government. Think of it. Would that earn you the presidency of Nigeria in 2023? For the avoidance of that, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, is a product of Buhari's incompetence. Buhari's paranoia frenzy about anything Biafra turned what was Nnamdi Kanu's agitation for justice and fairness into what it is today. The president in effect made Nnamdi Kanu a hero by locking him up and disobeying court orders to free him. Buhari should therefore not be surprised at the formidable opponent he has created as a result. Buhari's management of a complex and diverse country mixed with blatant nepotism is Nnamdi Kanu's fuel. If Buhari has any desire to de-escalate the tension he created, he has a slew of options on his table. But as we have seen again and again, Buhari must exhaust all bad options before he chooses a good one, staring him in the face. We know that as a minister, you have not been working with other leaders of the Southeast to address matters pertaining to the region. You have been so afraid of annoying Buhari and his clique or making them question your loyalty that you have relinquished leadership and auctioned off the leverage you should have had in the Southeast. Before you, the task is to go back to the Southeast not as a man with his tails between his legs, but as the most senior Biafran in Buhari's government. Go and engage your people in an honest conversation. If you do it well, working together, you can come up with the proverbial right channel to direct the grievances of your people to the government that you serve. Dear Honorable Minister, the alternative is what we are witnessing now. In the Southeast, the Hawks are in picking up the chicks one after another. Then the hen is crying out not for the monster that is killing his chicks to let go, but for the world to hear his voice. Your forefathers used to say that we must chase away the ox before we caution the hen. On your part, as the Minister of External Affairs, you will soon be sent abroad to walk up podiums around the world to commit the most abominable act against God and man. Justify the shedding of innocent blood. You either uphold the offer of your forefathers as the middle name commands, or you soil it on the altar of loyalty to the president of a crumbling edifice. The choice is yours. This is running out. Time is really running out. Dear Honorable Minister, if you ever have the chance of talking with President Buhari, tell him that Biafra is not the problem of Nigeria. Nigeria is not the first or only country to fight a civil war. Let him know that Nigeria is collapsing under the weight of injustice in the east, west, north, and south. In a sentence, we are all Biafrans rather than being fixated on a dot in a circle. Let him know it is time to go back to the drawing board or sit at the table of nationhood and draw a genuine, non-discriminating circle that accommodates every group, no matter how small, on equal terms. This is the irreducible expectation in a country that prides itself on being federal republic. We will end this letter by paraphrasing Edwin Madunuga's admonition to the Nigerian left in his latest essay, Birthday Greetings in Lieu of Responses. He may well be speaking to you, the most senior Biafran in the Buhari regime. Wherever you are today, use all your intellect, use whatever levers you have as individual and as a group to prevent Nigeria fully enacting a second edition of the 1966 to 1970 tragedy. Yours truly, Rudolph Ogo Okonkwo and Ç1Đ Onuma, and they copy the UN Secretary General, the US President through the American Embassy in Nigeria, the Canadian Prime Minister through the Canadian Rights High Commission in Nigeria, the British Prime Minister through the British High Commission in Nigeria, the French President through the French Embassy in Nigeria, the President Felix Antoine Tshisekedi, Chairperson of the African Union, President Nana Akufo-Addo, ECOWAS Chairman, Head of Delegation of the European Union to Nigeria and ECOWAS, and Amnesty International. So guys, the word is enough for the wise. Let's hear your own take.